The Wolf and the Seven Little Goats. At the edge of the forest where the paths became quieter, there was a small, neat little house. Its walls were bright, its windows clean, and around it you could always hear life. In that little house lived a mother goat and her 7 kids. Every morning the home filled with voices. The kids ran, laughed, asked questions, argued, and then made up again. Mother Goat watched them with a smile, but her eyes were always careful. Children, she said one morning as she prepared her little bag, today I must go out into the forest. The kids gathered around her at once. Will you go far, Mama? Asked one. We'll miss you, said another. And what will we do? Added a third. Mother Goat set the bag down and leaned closer to them. You will stay at home, she said calmly, and you will wait for me. Then her voice grew quieter but more serious. But you must remember something very important. The kids fell silent. In the forest lives the wolf, she said. He is clever and he doesn't always show who he is. How will we know him? Asked the oldest kid. By his voice, Mother Goat answered. It is rough and hoarse. And by his paws, she added. They are dark and hairy. And if he knocks? Asked the smallest one. You will not open, Mother Goat said firmly, to anyone, only if you hear my voice. We promise, said one kid. We promise, all the others repeated. Mother Goat stroked them one by one. Then she opened the door. I'll be back soon, she said. Stay together. The door closed, and out in the forest, something was already listening. After the door shut behind their mother, a strange quiet settled in the house. Not the quiet that comes at night when everyone is tired, but the quiet that makes ears sharpen and hearts listen. The kids looked at each other. Mama is gone, whispered one. Only for a little while, said another, but its voice was not fully sure. She said, we must stay together, the oldest reminded them. They gathered in the middle of the room and sat close to one another. The smallest kid pressed against its bigger brother and whispered, What if the wolf comes? We won't open, said the smallest firmly. We promised, said another. We'll know him by his voice, said a third. He has a rough voice. And by his paws, added a fourth, glancing toward the window. Outside, the forest looked calm. Leaves swayed gently. The sunlight warmed the little house as if nothing bad could happen. Let's play, suggested one kid. So time will pass faster. All right, said the oldest, but quietly. They began a quiet game. One kid lined up little stones by the window, another watched outside. A third hummed almost without sound. Only the smallest kid could not sit still. Do you think Mama has reached the forest? It asked. Probably, someone answered. She always walks fast. Time passed slowly. There was no clock, but the kids could feel the waiting stretch. Then, suddenly, all their ears sharpened. Outside there were footsteps. Did you hear? Whispered one. Yes, said another, pressing against the wall. Then came a clear sound. Thump, 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 thump. Someone knocked on the door. The kids froze. Don't open, whispered the oldest. Let's listen first, said another. Outside, a voice spoke. The kids stood still and listened. The knocking had been steady and heavy, as if whoever stood there knew exactly what they were doing. The oldest kid spoke in a careful voice. Who is it? Let us hear your voice. A voice came from outside, trying to sound soft. It's me, children. Open, I brought you something nice. The kids looked at each other. That is not Mama's voice, said one of the middle kids. No, whispered another. It's hoarse. Who are you? The oldest called, trying not to let its voice shake. A short pause, then the voice came again, quieter this time. I am your mother. Open quickly, I'm bringing food. The smallest kid pressed against the wall. Mama doesn't sound like that, it whispered. That's right, said the oldest. She speaks gently. Don't open, added another. We promised. From outside there came a tiny growl, quickly hidden. Children, the voice hissed, then softened again. You are very suspicious. If you are Mama, said one kid, show your paw through the window. Silence. Only wind moved the leaves. Then something dark appeared by the window. The kids crept closer and looked. That is not Mama, cried one. The paw is black, said another. It's hairy, said a third. Mama has white paws, shouted the oldest. From outside came an angry sound. You will regret this, the voice growled. Heavy footsteps moved away from the little house. The kids stayed by the door a long time without moving. Is it gone? whispered the smallest. For now, the oldest answered, but it will come back. And us? Asked another. We will be careful, said the oldest, and we won't open. Outside, the forest grew quiet again. But somewhere between the trees, the wolf was already thinking. After the footsteps disappeared, the house became quiet once more. The kids didn't move right away. They stayed close together, listening as if expecting something else to happen. Do you think it really left? Asked one softly. I think so, said another. There's no sound now. The oldest kid walked to the window and looked out. The forest looked calm. Leaves swayed. Light fell softly on the ground. It's quiet now, it said. We can breathe. The smallest kid sat on the floor and sighed. Good thing we didn't open, it said. Mama will be proud, said another. The kids went back to their small tasks. One lined up stones again. Another peered out the window. A third sat by the table and repeated Mother Goat's words in its mind. She said not to open for anyone, whispered one. And we listened, another replied. Outside, in the forest, the wolf leaned against a tree. He no longer hurried. He watched the little house from far away and thought, These kids are smarter than I thought, he muttered. But I will find a way. He stood up and walked deeper into the forest, quietly, without rushing. The day went on as if nothing had happened. And in the little house, the kids felt a bit safer again. They sat together and waited, believing their mother would return soon. The day continued quietly inside. The sun climbed higher and the light through the windows grew warmer and softer. The kids sat around the table and spoke calmly as if nothing special had happened. Time moves slowly, said one. When you're waiting, it always does, answered another. The oldest kid stood and looked outside. Mama is probably gathering food, it said. She will come back soon. And we're doing well, said one of the middle kids. We didn't open just like we promised. The smallest kid nodded and smiled. I like it when we're all together, it said softly. To make time easier, they decided to tidy the house. One kid wiped the table, another straightened the stools. A third opened the window to let in fresh air. It smells nice outside, one said. Yes, said another. The forest is calm today. But not far away, the wolf walked slowly among the trees. He stopped, looked around, and thought. Sometimes you need patience, he told himself. Not everything happens at once. He sat under a tree and listened to the forest's calm sounds, birds, wind, quiet leaves. Back at the little house, the kids gathered again. When Mama comes back, we'll tell her everything, said one. Yes, another smiled. We'll tell her how well we did. They waited quietly. No panic. No rushing, only the calm feeling that when you are together, everything is easier. After some time, the kids felt the air change again. It wasn't loud and it wasn't frightening, just different. The birds went silent for a moment. Do you hear? Asked one kid. Yes, said another, but it's not like before. The oldest kid walked near the door without touching it. Let's just listen, it said. A soft knocking came from outside, not heavy, not demanding, more like a timid reminder, tapped, slow and quiet. The kids looked at each other. This isn't like the first time, whispered one. Yes, said another. It's softer. Then a voice spoke, gentler, slower. Children, the voice said, it's me, I came back. The kids went silent. The smallest held onto the other's little hands. Is it Mama? It whispered. The oldest didn't answer right away. If you are Mama, it said, tell us something only she knows. A pause. The voice began, I brought you food. The kids looked at each other again. Mama always tells us to lock the door well first, said one. And she never rushes us to open, added another. We will wait, said the oldest. If it's Mama, she will come again. Outside, the voice fell silent. The knocking did not return. Only wind passed by the house. We did well, said the smallest and sighed. Yes, smiled another. Mama will be happy. They moved away from the door and sat together again. The day went on slowly and calmly as if it had no reason to hurry. After the second knocking, the kids stopped standing right by the door. They moved around the house calmly again. They remembered what it felt like when the house was simply a home, not a place that had to be guarded. I think we're doing well, said one kid as it sat by the window. Yes, said another. I'm not as scared anymore. The oldest watched them with a small smile. When we are together and we listen, it said, everything is easier. The smallest climbed onto its little stool and looked outside. The sun is lower, it said, so Mama will return soon. She usually comes back around this time, another agreed. They sat in a circle on the floor the way they did in the evenings when their mother was home. One kid talked about what it wanted to do when it grew up. Another laughed and said it just wanted to run in the meadows. And I want us to always be together, whispered the smallest. We will, said the oldest, patting its head. Outside, the forest was quiet. The light turned golden. The air softened. No rushing, no noise, only a long, peaceful afternoon. The sun began slowly slipping toward the treetops. The light through the windows became gentler. Inside, everything felt calm and tidy, as if the day itself was preparing to rest. It's almost evening, said one kid. Yes, said another. The air feels different. The oldest kid lit the small lamp in the corner. Its light was faint, but enough to make the room even cozier. Better, said the smallest, smiling. Calmer, added another. They settled close to one another. There was no need for many words. The presence of brothers and sisters was enough. From time to time, someone glanced at the door, but without panic now. If Mama comes, we'll hear her, said the oldest. Yes, the others nodded. Outside, the forest quieted too. Birds grew silent one by one. The wind moved slowly among the branches. One kid yawned. I think I'm tired, it said. Me too, another replied. The oldest looked at them gently. We can just sit and wait, it said. No need to rush. They stayed like that, quiet, calm, sure that everything would be all right. The home held them, and time moved slowly. Then, just as the evening deepened, a familiar sound came along the path. Not heavy, not hurried, gentle and steady. The kids lifted their ears. Did you hear? Whispered one. Yes, said another. Not like before. The sound came closer. Then a soft knocking. Tap, tap, tap. The kids didn't rush. They stayed calm. Let's hear the voice, said the oldest. A warm, gentle voice came from outside. Children, it's me. I'm home. Their hearts filled with joy. It's Mama, whispered the smallest. Yes, smiled another. That's her voice. But they remembered their promise. Mama, said the oldest calmly, show us your paw. A clean, white paw appeared by the window. It's her, said one kid. We can open, whispered another. The door opened slowly. Mother Goat stepped inside. Her eyes showed tiredness from the long day, but also a warmth that filled the room at once. When she saw her 7 kids gathered together, she stopped for a moment and smiled. There you are, she said. You waited for me. Mama, the kids cried. They ran to her and surrounded her. One grabbed her apron. Another pressed to her leg. A third hugged as tightly as it could. Were you good? She asked gently. Yes, said the oldest. We didn't open for anyone. The wolf came, added another. Twice, whispered the smallest. Mother Goat sighed and looked at them carefully. I'm proud of you, she said. You did very well. She set her bag down and sat on a chair. The kids gathered around her the way they loved to do in the evenings. Tell me everything, she said. One by one, they told her, the knocking, the voices, the pause at the window. They spoke calmly now, retelling the day without fear. Sometimes it's hard to wait, Mother Goat said, but you did it. She stroked their heads. Our home is strong as long as we are together, she added. Outside, night had already come. Inside, the lamp glowed softly. The air was warm and peaceful. Mother Goat prepared food, and the kids sat quietly and happily. I like it when we're all here, said one. Me too, said another. Mother Goat smiled. That is the most important thing, she said. After they ate, the house grew even quieter, as if it were preparing to sleep. Mother Goat washed up slowly, without hurrying, and the kids settled around her, some on the floor, some on their stools. I liked how you waited for me, she said softly. We were scared, admitted the oldest. It was a long day, whispered the smallest, leaning against her. Mother Goat looked at them one by one. You know, she said, it isn't always easy to tell who is speaking the truth. But when you are together and you trust each other, it becomes easier. I was afraid, said one kid. Me too, said another. But we didn't open, said a third. That's what matters, Mother Goat smiled. Fear comes and goes, but your choices stay. She led them to the sleeping room. The beds were ready. The blankets were soft and warm. The kids crawled under them one by one. Mama, asked the smallest, will you stay with us? Of course, she said, sitting by the bed. Tell us something, asked one of the kids. Mother Goat smiled and began speaking softly about the forest, about the stars, about how each night brings a little calm with it. Her voice was gentle and steady. The kids' eyes began to close. Good night, Mama, whispered one. Good night, she answered, stroking them. Outside, the night was quiet. Inside the little house, peace lived. Everyone was together, and that was enough. Morning came softly, almost unnoticed. First came the light, golden and gentle, slipping through the windows. Then birds sang one by one, greeting the new day. The kids stirred under their blankets. I'm awake, whispered one. Me too, said another, stretching. The smallest opened its eyes and smiled. Mama, are you still here? I'm here, Mother Goat called calmly from the kitchen. It's a new day. The kids got up one by one. The day felt fresh and light, as if yesterday's worries were far behind. They gathered by the window and looked outside. The forest looks different in the morning, said one. Better, said another. Calmer, said a third. Mother Goat called them for breakfast. They sat around the table and listened as she spoke quietly. Every day teaches us something, she said. Yesterday you learned how to wait and how to protect yourselves. And how to listen, said the oldest. And how to trust each other, whispered the smallest. Mother Goat smiled. These are things you will remember for a long time. After breakfast, the kids went outside for a little while. The sun warmed them. The grass was fresh. They ran lightly, enjoying simple things. I like the new morning, said one. Me too, said another. Mother Goat watched them from the doorway. She knew they were growing day by day, not only in size, but inside. And the day continued quietly, carrying a feeling of peace and understanding, full of small, important words that do not get forgotten.